Well, good evening, everybody, and welcome back for another episode of Talks with V. I'm so excited that you guys are all here to join us. We have a spicy conversation. I'm just so happy that you guys are here. But first, before we get too into the show, for everyone who has a YouTube account, please log into that account so that you can join the conversation. If you have any questions, then that way you'll be able to, put your questions in the chat, and we'll be able to, take a look at that and then answer. Our panel can answer to the best of their ability. And so we want you to be able to join us in this conversation and, just be a part of the discussion. Also, if you are interested, you can put in the chat that you want to come up and basically ask your question on the screen. You don't have to come on the screen. You can just use your profile picture and ask your question that way as well. So we will add that if someone can add that to the chat, the link, so that if anyone wants to join us, they can. Thank you so much for being here again. And I am your host, V Bailey. And this evening's episode of Talks with V is episode 9. Wow, we're just flying through these episodes. But it's been a really great season of women's healing. And this evening, we're talking about loving your body, yoni love, self-love, and body positivity. So I am super excited. And I want to go ahead and introduce our guests, or allow our guests to tell us a little bit about themselves. And so we'll go ahead and start with Afia. If you can tell our audience who you are and what it is that you do and how long you've been doing it. And that would be great. Oh, it looks like you're on mute, hon.
Let's try again. Peace and blessings to everyone. Thank you for having me on this show tonight. And my name is Afia Gemma, and I originally born and raised in Toronto, Ontario, Canada. Right now, I'm currently in Jamaica. And my journey began right out of high school. I was always involved in the healthcare industry and pharmacy. And then from there, because I had midwives for all three of my births, but what was very inspiring for me was, having the experience of my friends going to the hospital route and the doctor route, and I decided to have midwives. But I always wanted to be a midwife. But because I was always a dedicated mom as well, I decided to just get into birthing doula. I did my training at DONA, Doula America. And then from there, so this is like 2005. So from there, I went to natural. I'm so nervous.
It's okay. It's okay.
I graduated as a holistic nutritionist at the Canadian School of Natural Nutrition. I wanted to add more value to my service. And then I did reflexology and skincare. So, and then just recently I graduated and became certified as a full universal healing Down instructor.
Oh, wow.
My whole journey for the past, I would say, 25 years has been
in healing, right?
Yeah, has been in
Awesome.
and the beginning part of my journey, I really focused on my main focus was women's health and fertility, and then branched off into working with couples. So now I'm more focused on working with couples and focusing on holistic sexual health, which
there's some pretty spicy things on your page on Instagram. Like, oh,
Yes, yes. And
Okay.
just embracing, especially as Black women, embracing our sexuality, embracing our bodies, loving our bodies, listening to our bodies. And
Okay.
yeah, so that's been my journey. I'm very excited to continue
Yes.
on the path that I'm on.
Absolutely. Well, we appreciate the work that you do. There's so much educational things that I never even thought about, and so I learned a lot from you just being a follower, of your account. So thank you so much. And then of course that's our girl chat. So that always
Yes.
it's always good too. And so yes, thank you so much for being here. And next we have Miss Nikki Glaze. Welcome back. Actually, both of you guys have, well, all of you guys have been on the show before, well, different shows that I've had,
Yeah.
but on my platform, and I appreciate you guys so much. But welcome back, Nikki. Nikki, if you can tell the people who you are, if they don't know.
Right. Thank you. If y'all don't know,
Just
don't
in case they don't know.
know. Well, thank you for having me back, B. I love sharing space and energy with you on your show. I think it's an amazing platform. So I'm glad to be here. And grand greetings to everyone tuning in. I am Nikki A. Glaze, better known as Nikki Glaze. I am a professional mental health counselor. I am a human design intuitive reader and a BDSM kink educator and practitioner. So all of my services are listed on my link tree, which
Oh,
should be
nice.
popping up on the screen sometime soon. And I'll also be launching a website soon. So I'm really excited for that. And that's going to have more information about myself, my services, my background, my story, what it is that I do. So I'm happy to be here.
Yes, 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 yes. Love that. Excited about that too. Um, Nice little website. I mean, your link tree's got a lot of the good stuff on there too. But this is going to be nice, to have that full website that can really draw people in so that they can, indulge and get some of your services. So,
Right.
um, so next we have Miss Prandara Prim. I was like, I'm gonna say it
You did,
right.
you did, you did. Hello, everyone. Thank you for having me here again. I'm so excited. Woo! I was like, if I say how long I've been in this field, I'm gonna sound old. But Afaya went ahead and said 25 years, and she's looking good. So I'm like, I could go ahead and say that because I'm looking good too. That
Yes.
black don't crack.
My girl, it was in my head. I was just like,
I was like, ooh, try not to sound so old. But
Mhm,
yeah, so I've been in this work for really about a good 25 years or so as well myself.
mhm,
I started from after high school, similar. When I went to college, I studied psychology. I became a psychotherapist. I received my LCPC, got my master's in psychological counseling. And as a therapist, I've always worked with women, young adult women, couples. There was always sexual issues, relationship problems, and that's who kept coming to me. Even though I wanted to work with kids, I'm like, I want to work with kids. Why are these adults coming in with relationship problems and young women? But the universe has its way of saying this is what you need to do. Um, and I've always been one that's been very free and sexual and sexually open. And so the universe was like, this is who you need to work with. And
mhm,
along that, I started to learn Reiki and I became a Reiki master. I'm a Reiki master in several different traditions and the traditional Usui Reiki, shamanic, shamanic Maheo Reiki, Egyptian Sekim Reiki, as well as Kundalini Reiki.
mm,
Now, at some point at 35 years old, I kind of burnt out and I was like, I need to take a little break and just kind of go and do my Eat, Pray, Love journey.
mm,
And that's when I left and I went to India and I stayed in India learning more about meditation, yoga, and I actually had my first tantric experience in India. And I didn't
mm,
even know that. And so the interesting thing is I went to this beach town called Gokarna. It's not very well known, but Gokarna, and I met this fine gentleman. And here I thought, I was going to get my groove on, in India. And I did, but in a different way. And so when I brought him back to my hotel room, he he ended up leading me through this breathwork session and eye
Mm.
gazing. And it was amazing. And I had full body orgasms without him touching me. And I
Wow.
was like, what is this?
Hmm.
But he never told me what it was. And then,
Okay.
but it was okay because at that time, it wasn't for me to know at that time. Yes, fine gentlemen, yes. And so
Yeah.
it was just perfect. And then when I left, I ended up backpacking throughout South America for a year, and then
Okay.
I ended up in Brazil, and I lived 13 years in Brazil. And in Brazil, I found Tantra. And
Mm.
so yeah, so I found Tantra. Someone did Tantra on me. Oh, well, actually what happened was there was a lady I used to I had I had my private practice, and I was
Okay.
working, and a friend of mine said, "Oh, I have a lady coming who wants to teach a 6 weeks Tantra course." I was like, "Okay." And when she came, that's when I started learning and doing the tantric yoga, and it was
Mm.
amazing. And I was like, "This is what I need to start doing." And so
Right.
I found a Tantra commune, and I ended up living there for 2 years, studying
Wow.
Tantra every day on a daily basis for 2 years, doing Tantric meditation, Tantric yoga, and Tantric massage. And then I became a certified Tantra um, therapist. And then at that same commune, I did my sex and relationship coaching
Mm.
certification there. Now, before that, I did do a year-long shamanic medicine woman certification. And so
Mhm.
now I work with all of that. And that's me in a nutshell.
Yeah, no, that's so awesome. And it's so funny because I know that when I first heard about Tantra, I only heard of it as tantric sex. And I didn't know that it's this whole, thing. Like it's a whole spiritual
Hmm.
practice, experience, all that. And I was just like, wow, that's so fascinating. And
Well,
so,
right. That's what most of the people come when people are coming to me. They're like, "Oh yeah, I want to learn about tantric sex, and I
mhm.
want to be this, be the sex goddess or
Right.
king or whatever." And it's
Right.
like, and so when we start working together, they see that it's so much more. It's about learning how to love yourself. It's about
Mhm.
learning how to be more intimate with yourself and how to be
Mhm.
more intimate and have more deeper connections
Mhm.
with other people in your life, with your partner. And
Right.
that's what makes the difference. And
Yeah.
so that's what I love to do. I love to empower people,
I
women
love
specifically, but men and women sexually, and teach people how to have more intimate connections. And my handles are will be popping up as well at Instagram. I'm Prandara Prim
that.
underscore Tantra, and my website is www.prandaraprim.com.
Awesome, awesome. And I'm definitely going to give you guys a opportunity at the end as well
Yeah.
to let the people know where to find you as well. So, um, just in time, Smarell, thank you so much for being here. We're just going around and introducing, allowing you guys to introduce yourself so you can tell the people what it is, who you are, what it is that you do, and how long you've been doing it. So take it away.
Can you
Oh,
hear,
you might be on mute.
can you hear me?
Yeah, it's a little low. I don't know if the volume, if you can.
Can you hear me okay?
There you go. Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Apologies for being late. Um, dog issues over here. Um, yeah, so hoping all is well. I am Smartrell, and I am happy to be here after meeting V on Clubhouse. Yeah, for energy. Um, gosh, so I guess just for the past, just to make it quick so we can get into the combo, I am known for all things health and wellness. I've been on a plant-based journey for about 15 to 20 years now. My family has owned um, restaurants for the past 12 years. So my background is really in the hospitality industry. So although I've been plant-based, I have more experience with feeding the masses. But to be quite honest, I have been on a 2 year sabbatical away from everything and just really getting back to me because I find that we are in business and you're responsible for people paying their rent, people paying their bills. It takes a certain type of mental and emotional toll on you. Um,
Mm.
and I started to realize I needed to get into my medicine bag and use the tools that I've been giving everybody else and
Yes.
use them on me. So yeah, that's really what I've been focusing on is just redefining what success looks like to me instead of just
Oh,
a businesswoman. But yeah, so I've been coaching people on holistic health and wellness, raw food chef, foodie. I'm a Zumba instructor, all these things, and I teach children's wellness classes. I've done a lot, but it's mostly everything is about empowering someone to, I guess, become the most authentic version of themselves. So,
yes. Oh my gosh. We need that. We need that so much. And I just think it's so beautiful because I'm seeing more of it happen. There's a lot of changes that are happening in the community, but I'm seeing women, especially this year. And I'm so excited because I claimed it last year. I was like, ugh, 2023 is going to be lit. Like, it's just going to be lit all year long. Like, just great things are going to happen. And I'm loving seeing so many women to like take that initiative and say, you know what, it's time to focus on me because as Black women, we got a lot of stuff, a lot of magic, right? A lot of greatness, a lot of things that we're doing, and we're doing a lot of that for everyone else. But um, I believe, I feel that we neglect ourselves. We give all that greatness away, and it's just like, hold on, wait a minute. Let's save some for ourselves. And that's a big part of why I wanted to have this conversation tonight as well, because we hear so much about, well, the last episode we talked about loving the me that I see in the mirror. And that was really about, the acceptance, right? And so once we get to the point where we accept ourselves, right? Then we get to apply the love. It's like before it's just like, okay, can I do this? Am I worthy of love? All these questions. And then once you get to the place where you're like, yeah, I am. So now it's like, let's apply it. And we know that the yoni conversation is always spicy and people are interested in it. But so often, we hear women, on the internet bragging on their vajayjay and oh, it's gonna be so wet, it's gonna be this, all these things, for someone else, and not the power of your womb, that it holds to to feed you and to also, inspire and manifest other things that impact other people. But it's just crazy that it's starting on the outside of us, a lot of times when you hear that conversation. So I wanted us to talk about that and how important it is to, love your yoni, love your womb, and practicing that self love and then the body positivity, throughout our imperfections. And so want to go ahead and get into our questions here. So want to start with what is yoni love? And so I'll go ahead and start with Prandara. If you can tell us, a little about what is Yoni Love, because I got to do a part of. You had kind of like a retreat or an event that was going on, online event, and it was Yoni
Mhm.
Love and
Yes.
meditation, and I was just like, first of all, I was like, wait a minute, like, how am I getting more? I just felt so in touch with myself, and I felt like crazy because I'm just like, why haven't I been in touch with my body like this, before? It was wild, but I was thankful and I loved it. So, yeah, please tell us what is Yoni Love?
Yes. Well, Yoni love is self love. That's pussy power.
Yes.
So that's what it is. That's what it is. It's so unfortunate because I've worked with so many women
Mhm.
and I've run across so many women who do not know the power of their pussy.
Mm.
Oh, can I say that? Is that okay to say that word on here?
Yeah, girl,
Pussy. All
it's
right.
nighttime.
Um, or their yoni. And
Mhm.
so many, just like what you were saying, really, so many women, they want to leave that power to another man to give
Mm.
them orgasm,
Mm.
or they want to do all of these different things for men as opposed to themselves. And so yoni love is about taking care of yourself. It's about healing your yoni and that womb space. And so
Mm.
the yoni actually holds on to a lot of the traumas. So,
Mm,
and we hold, our body has cellular memory. So it holds on first and foremost to 7 generations of trauma from our
ugh,
parents, from our grandparents, our great great grandparents. And so in the yoni, it has all of the reflexology points, right? So it has anger, it has all of the organs, the kidneys that's related to fear, liver that's related to anger, and so on, right? And
mhm,
so once we start to do that work and love our yoni, take care of the yoni, you start releasing a lot of those emotions, those trapped emotions, or the fear, or the pain, or the anger, so that you
mm,
can live a healthier life, so that you can have a healthy womb space. And so
mhm.
there's so many different techniques that we're going to be touching upon that will help you to love your yoni, to care for your yoni. And so that's really yoni love is really about honoring it, your yoni, respecting
Mhm.
your yoni, not allowing anyone to come in who doesn't deserve to come in. Many
Right.
of us have had sexual partners that did not deserve to come inside of us.
Mm,
You know, many of us don't treat our yoni well. You know, we use all kinds of stuff. We use all kinds of products that we're putting
mm,
in there that's harmful to our yoni. So the
right.
bacteria, you know, throws us off.
Mhm.
So yoni love is about coming back to your personal power, loving yourself, connecting
Yes.
to your body, healing, and being conscious to what you're doing to your body, to your yoni.
Right. Oh, awesome. And how it affects it. Oh, that's so good. And I keep saying it wrong, but Afia. Got
Yeah,
it. Yes, and I wanted you to share a little insight about it as well because Pandara just mentioned about the different reflex points, within your womb, um, your vagina, the yoni. Just for everybody who's still catching on to the terminology. But yeah, if you could speak to that too about the yoni and those reflex. I mean those
so the
points.
sexual genital,
Reflexology.
Mhm.
yeah, the genital reflexology points. Something very phenomenal that I've realized and done a little research is our clitoris has over 8,000 to 15,000 nerve endings,
Oh wow.
which is quite profound when you think of its electromagnetic um, qualities,
Wow.
meaning we can, with the power of our fingers, our thoughts, actually program our clitoris to attract
Oh
love,
wow.
to attract anything that it is that we like.
Oh,
During 7 weeks, which is about 49 days, like traditional Taoism is very rooted in Buddhism
mm,
and traditional Chinese medicine. And in the teachings is that at 7 weeks to about, it's about like
mm.
49 days is when the gender of the child is, I mean, you can know what the gender of the child is. And when the clitoris is formed, is at the same time that the pineal gland is formed.
Oh wow.
And there are connections with the clitoris and the pineal gland
Hmm.
because the at that, during that time there's a lot of DMT that is really created. So
Okay.
the time of death, the pineal gland secretes a lot of DMT, which is a very hallucinogenic hormone, which
Oh wow.
also deals with bliss. So that's why it's such a blissful. It's like
Mm,
they call it the first gate in
mm,
Taoism, where of an orgasm, it's a
mm.
state of the first orgasm. But even when it comes to like yoni steams, you can actually create it as a ritual, as a I keep forgetting how to pronounce your name, Miss Queen Mother.
Oh, Prandara.
In
Fandara.
Pandara, yes, you mentioned about trauma being trapped in our yoni, and then we can use the yoni steams as a ritual, praying over your water, setting good
Mm.
intentions over the water and the herbs, and using the steam as a way to release, trauma,
Mm.
toxins, and things like that. So,
That's
yeah,
so good.
yeah. So these are the types of things that I would teach in my program,
Hmm.
and in the addition with the Universal Yoga Instructor program, um,
Okay.
you can become a certified associate instructor,
Mm.
and it entails just learning how to pour into yourself with the inner smile, learning how to pretty much transform negative emotions into positive, you know.
Wow. No, that's so good and
Mhm.
so interesting. I'm like, wow, that's it's
Yes.
just so, so
Can
much to
I
learn.
Mhm.
Can I
Yes.
add? Can I add?
Yes.
Afaya, it was saying how the yoni has like 8 to 15,000 nerve endings,
Mm.
and the male penis or lingam has half of that, half of that. So that goes to show you how powerful we
Mm.
are. We
Yes.
have
Mm.
way more abilities for pleasure, and the clitoris, its only function is for pleasure. Its
Yes.
only function is for pleasure, you know
Mm.
and
That's so
and
interesting.
yes, and so
Stop. We gotta stop blaming those men that you're not getting your orgasm because
and and just even for men, like, we you have a child, and they do circumcision, which
Mm.
really is not needed, right?
Mm.
And they say it's just for you for them to be more clean, but
Mm.
that's BS. So what it really is mutilation, because a circumcised penis has even less, they sense even less
Yeah.
pleasure.
Oh
An
wow.
uncircumcised, you have even more pleasure. So it's all of these things that we're growing up in this society. We're in this society that's anti-pleasure because
Right.
they know the power of it.
It's
Mm.
You
true.
know, they
Exactly.
know the power of it. And
And so
so
you're learning the wrong things like the whole time, that
mhm,
kind of go against, you know, when you're learning the wrong things, you're not able to take care of your body the way that you're supposed to if you're learning the wrong things, so you do the wrong things. So
right.
it's
So we have to educate ourselves. We have to
yeah,
educate
We
ourselves.
do. We
Yeah.
do.
absolutely.
And in addition, some of some other techniques, in addition to the yoni steam, which is great, you know,
Yeah, we're
um,
gonna get into
yo,
that.
yes, yoni
Uh-huh.
breathing, and yoni massage. I do vaginal mapping, and vaginal mapping is very important for women who come in and they have trauma
Mm.
held, because the vaginal mapping is going to help to release those traumas in those different sexual reflexology points.
Oh
Yes.
wow.
And I also do clitoral mapping, and so a lot of people haven't heard this. So women are coming to me because they want to be a sex goddess, which is great. But then
Mm.
it's like you have to do this work. So we have to start with the vaginal mapping, clitoral mapping, yoni steaming. I recommend. I don't work with, but I recommend. And yoni breathing, which I do. Those are
Mm.
all of those are so powerful.
They are.
Yeah, and I kind of wanted to move into that about those, because we hear more about the yoni steams and not all of the other, I guess, treatments or different, techniques. And so, as you mentioned about the yoni massages and then the breathing, breathing is so important, I think, to all of everything that you all do. I feel like there is definitely a place for that. It's so much power in you controlling your breath, like controlling your breathing.
Yes.
That was really exciting to learn, about. But if you could tell us about that a little bit more, as far as the different, treatments, and they have the yoni stones, the yoni eggs, I mean.
The yoni
So if you
eggs.
can kind of educate the people, because I know someone asked about having a better yoni experience, and I mean yoni like steam experience, and some people have different ideas about it. They may think like, okay, is it safe, you're putting steam there, and they may be kind of like lost. What is it for, like why do it, and what are the different I guess treatments you would call, and the benefits. So yeah, oh yeah, you can go
Okay.
ahead.
Would you like to start a fire or would you like me? Fine, either
I just
way.
wanted to say
Go
something
ahead.
very quickly. The how connected our clitoris is just to our lymphatic system.
Mm,
So if you understand, the lymphatic system is very similar to the circulatory system, and
mm.
it circulates lymph fluid around the body, but it's a slower moving system,
Okay.
and the it's moved mainly via the breath,
Okay.
right? As well as muscle movement and
Mm,
sometimes sweating. Sweating will move the lymphatic system. And a stagnant lymphatic system is can be, lead to, like, lymph nodes being clogged, breast
mm.
cancer, any type of like cancers. Um, so going back to the clitoris being connected to the lymphatic system, so a lack of pleasure
Mhm.
can really take a toll on our health, right?
Wow.
So when you think about, certain religious and systems and thought forms have, I mean, sex has been a taboo for so long.
Mm.
You really think about what
Even
it,
when you think about the fact of like when you go through menopause and how they talk about that, like usually if you have a sexier, I mean a healthier sex life, that process is better.
Hmm.
And if you
Yeah.
don't,
right,
Yeah.
it's
right,
worse.
Our body is phenomenal. Like when you really think about it, our body's phenomenal.
Mhm.
We have meridians going through our mouth to our
Mhm.
nipples to the yoni,
Oh wow.
right? And so there's so much healing that can be done.
yeah,
And
Mhm.
just getting back to your question, right? Okay,
Yes.
so yoni breathing and breath work is phenomenal. That's the 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 foundation of any healing that you need.
Mhm.
It's going to
yeah,
be breath work. And so with yoni breathing, when I lead yoni breathing, it's breathing through the yoni as well as through the mouth, and we
Mm.
have a circle of breath. And through that, it's so powerful. Just through this simple breathing, where women are lying down,
Mhm.
you're releasing so much. And in my Yoni Love, I had the Yoni Love workshop.
Mhm.
Um, I did a 1 day free event, and then we did a 2 week course, and I
Mhm.
led women through. We did Yoni breathing, we did orgasmic yoga. The
Right.
Yoni breathing is just so powerful because through the breath work and through the movements of the hips, the circular movements of the hips, we're,
Mhm.
we're releasing the traumas that's held in the body. So
Mm.
releasing that, you come out feeling free.
Mm.
Just from that doing yoni breathing, many women have orgasms just for that. I don't even have to touch you.
Yeah.
And then yoni massage, similar. With the yoni massage, I will do vaginal mapping. I do clitoral mapping, and I do a lot of different massaging along the yoni, within and without, to awaken the dormant cells. Like, a lot of times women are not able to have orgasms, or they
Mm.
feel pain. So through I do an evaluation first to see, okay, what's going on, what do we need to do, how do I need to do it, so that we can decide. And so even with doing just a yoni massage, I never start that right away. I'm doing some breath work, I'm doing some meditation, and then we're doing the massage. We're doing the massage because majority of women do not have orgasms. A lot of women fake
Mm.
orgasms.
Mm.
A lot of women can't have orgasms with penetration. More can have
Wow.
clitoral orgasm, but can't have with penetration. Why
Wow.
is that? Because we hold on to the trauma within,
Wow.
right? And so through doing the yoni massage, we're
Mhm.
releasing those traumas so that women can now feel pleasure, and not even just feel pleasure, but experience pleasure to different degrees.
Mhm.
I love to
And,
joke.
and, and,
I
and
love to
healing, you
and
know?
healing. Well,
Mhm.
it's the healing that allows you
Right.
to have the pleasure, right?
Right.
And so so you have that, and then you have the yoni steam. Many women have fibroids, and they don't, realize that they have that.
Mm.
Many women have pH balance problems,
Mhm.
recurring yeast infections, recurring, so many different infections, and yeast and yoni steams help with that. I dealt with fibroids, and for me, I would do yoni steams 3 times a week. I would do
Mhm.
yoni steams, I would do yoni breathing.
Mm,
Um, I changed my diet, which is a big thing.
mhm,
That makes, yeah, they're no joke. I was bleeding daily and my period
mm,
lasted a week and I was changing every 2 hours. Like it's bad. I became anemic. And now I'm down to 3 days, no
mhm.
pain. And it was those treatments and it was changing, becoming more connected with my yoni, not
Right.
allowing people in, right, that didn't deserve to be in, changing
Mm,
the t- I was using pads and tampons. I had to change that. I bought that silicone diva cup. I started
mm,
using reusable pads,
mhm.
all of these things that became healthier. And that's yoni love, right? It's
Wow.
Right.
like there's a problem. Let me not just, and I'm not saying not to go have surgery or do the traditional medicine, but it's like, let me not just do that. Let me see
Don't
what
go
my yoni
straight.
is saying, what it's needing, and
Right.
doing that healing work. And that worked for me. I
Mm,
would never tell somebody to just do that. You have to find what works for you,
Yes.
right.
you know?
Yeah, I mean, and speaking to that, I think that that's a great, segue, to bring in Smarell, because Smarell, the cooking, the it's taking care of our body is not just the outside stuff or just one area. It's like all of it is yours, right? And so I wanted to hear from you in reference to things, with your diet and movement. I see you, on your page, both of you actually love to dance. I'll see, Prandar dance, and I see Smarell just in her zone, just basking in her feminine. And I'm just like, oh, girl, go ahead, So, are there certain things that you can eat, or certain movements, that you would say, help, that overall taking care of your yoni and your body just in general, loving yourself?
I'm really interested in trying to find this clitoral mapping.
Wait, hold on. I think I'm gonna
You
just
got you got to take my course. You got to take my course.
I'm sitting here like, where can I find this? I was misspelling her name and stuff, but I'm trying.
Prandara Prim underscore Tantra girl.
yes. And
We'll talk.
you guys are all linked on the post on my page. So you can go on there and click away and y'all connect.
No, but I'm glad that she brought up that. But I think that when we start talking about womb health, I think a conversation that we don't really realize is that. Do you hear echo? Is it me?
Mm-mm. Yeah, we can. I can
I
hear.
hear echo, yeah, but it's real low.
Okay.
But you sound fine. Yeah.
But I think something that we have to focus on is that as women, when we realize that our bodies are actually our temples, then
Mhm.
it helps us shift. I can't hear. It's bothering me. Is it my? Is it me? Can y'all
I
hear?
don't, we can hear you very clearly, but it might be a little feedback on your end. I'm not for sure.
Um, I guess our bodies are overall temples, and once we start to realize that in order for us to have healthy yonis, I think everything she's talking about, absolutely. But if we're not focusing on the inside,
Hmm.
the fluids that are flowing outside of our vaginas aren't going to be healthy. And a lot of
Right.
it we are consuming is what offsets our pH balance.
Mm.
So when we are consuming a diet that is more, I'm plant based, it is the diet that I subscribe to, but I don't think, there tends to be, I don't have any more audio. They're asking.
Yeah, I think he was just asking, did you have any other like apps, like if you have the show playing in the background, because sometimes people like to watch the show or look at
No.
the comments. Okay, that's what we're trying to figure out, what maybe that might be contributing
Is
to
it
it.
your echo?
I'm not for sure. I can mute, but I'll let you go ahead and
Okay.
finish what you were saying about the fluids in our body. I mean, as far as the food that we're putting into it, if you're eating, certain foods that are not in agreement, with you and your system, then it's going to affect the fluids that come out of it. So that's,
Yeah, so I think the more that we are consuming a diet, whether you are vegan or not, the more that you are consuming a diet that is high in fiber, high in fruits and vegetables, eating more food, especially if we're talking to melanated women, right? I think there's a little bit difference when it comes to us being melanated people. As long as we are eating living foods, eating food that actually comes from the sun, the more that we are eating life, especially being the creators of life, right? The more that we are understanding, it is my job, whether I am a auntie, whether I am a leader in my community, I got to protect first and foremost the womb of my mind. I feel like when we talk about yonis, we also forget that as natural creators, um, women being that receiving energy, the food that we eat sits in our gut, and they're saying that our gut is a second brain, but now there are studies that are showing that our gut is the first brain. So the food that we are consuming coming from the womb of our mind flows through our body out of our vaginal areas. The food that we eat impacts the way that you taste. Whether you are a woman or a man, I say this to men, they're like, Smarell, so what do you do when it comes to like plant-based? Or listen, I don't need no battery acid sperm on my body. Okay. That is something that we do not talk about. But for someone that is saying, okay, I eat all the McDonald's things, and maybe you're seeing this conversation right now. I eat McDonald's. I live a whole opposite lifestyle of what these ladies are talking about. What I would recommend is to immediately, as much as you can, stop consuming dairy. Dairy is no one's friend, especially as women. You said you got fibroid issues, you got issues with your uterus. It causes inflammation in the body. It bloats us. It causes acne. It fogs our mind. A lot of what's going on, they're filling it up with hormones and all of that crap. The more that we are eating more gelatinous foods, because you want that thing to be gushy, and slimy and all moist and stuff, the more that we are eating foods that are like your sea moss, the more that you're doing your okra, you're doing your herbs, eating more things that are chlorophyll, making sure that when your period is coming on, somebody said battery acid sperm.
They actually have a question too. I'm gonna pose it to the panel.
But the more that we are consuming things that are higher in chlorophyll, because you can also tell a lot about, your diet by what happens when you're on your period, right? Like I've gotten to the point in my life now where when I see my period, I'm like, oh, the blood is so beautiful. She is so red. Oh, but years ago, it was like, ugh, I'm on my period. Let me just get this over with.
Right.
I think when you're coming on your period, speaking to what Pradara was talking about, protecting your yoni, understanding this is the time when I should eat, drink my red clover tea. I should take more time to slow down. I should eat food that is healing to my yoni. I should not be consuming a McFrosty from Wendy's because it has chocolate. We got to realize that when we are eating certain foods, especially when we're on our period, it has nothing to do with the foods that we are consuming, but the sentimental connections that we get from those foods, as well as the vitamins and the minerals that our body's needing. So if you're needing your chocolate when you're on your period, your body is really craving that magnesium you get from fresh cacao, chocolate is one of the healthiest things for us. But women, we push it away because it's not healthy, because men have put all the dairy and all the other crap with us. So just taking time, at least, this is what I tell people, at least 2 weeks before you come on your period, try to eat more chlorophyll filled foods. Even if you have your liquid chlorophyll, try to eat more slimy things, eat more fruit, eat your things that look like vaginas, like papaya, so I'll stop there because I can geek out on food. But.
Oh,
No, but that was, I wanted to add something. That's so awesome. And that was a big part of helping me to heal with the fibroid. So yes, the food is important. And then even just adding another thing to that connection, one of the things that I started doing was drawing with my period blood. I started giving my period blood back to the earth. I have plants, and because I started using the silicone, the Diva cup, I would take it, mix it with water, and I would pour it into my plants, and they started to grow healthier. Before women, we had the red tint, the shamanic thing, right? Or I mean, I don't want to say shamanic as that's what we use now, but the indigenous um, ladies, they would, and our ancestors, when we were in our periods, that was our time to be alone, to connect to our bodies, to hear our intuition, our wisdom. And we would sit in the earth, free blood, we're doing now, and just give it back to the earth. And that also helps to heal us and connect us more to this universe because we're all connected. Tantra says we're all connected. Everything is connected. That's one of the meanings.
No,
Yeah.
that's so good.
Can you say something in regards to, because a gentleman had mentioned about,
Yeah, I was going to read that. He basically he asked, "Are there certain things that women wish us men, would do besides hygiene in preparation for sexual activities?"
okay,
Before you
I
Um,
get
mean,
into
um,
I wanted to stay on the
yeah,
food.
both of you guys. Yeah.
go ahead, honey, because I've
Thank
spoken
you, thank
already.
you.
Go
Well,
ahead.
because it's a whole list for the men, but hold on. I wanted to jump in when we got here as well. For myself, I was diagnosed with an autoimmune disorder that directly correlated to the way that my body processes food, right? And my autoimmune disorder had gone undiagnosed for decades in my life. And I was feeling all of the symptoms of it, but the symptoms of it led to other illnesses, right? So, oh, it's this, oh, it's that, oh, it's this, until the autoimmune disorder got so bad that it was finally diagnosed. And the immediate response was prepare yourself for radioactive therapy and surgery. And I was placed on medication. And through
Wow.
that radioactive therapy and surgery, I would have had a body organ removed and thus had to have been on medication for the rest of my life. I said no. I believe that, others here, the vibration that we are on is Eastern medicine, Eastern spirituality, holistic understanding of the body. And I said, I'm not going to take this Western medicine advice. I'm not going to cut out a piece of my body and then be on medicine for the rest of my life. So what did I do? I changed my diet. I focused on my dietary fitness, my physical fitness, my mental spiritual fitness. And in less than 1 year, I changed the biology of my body, right? And so when I was first diagnosed, my numbers were off the charts. They wanted to do surgery immediately. They wanted to put me under radioactive therapy. And in less than 1 year, I went back to the doctor and she said, "Oh my goodness, we can take you off of this medication. What did you do?" And I introduced more plant-based diet, right? So exactly, the body has a way of healing itself
Yes.
because with tantra and with the interconnectedness of all living beings, we have everything that we need to live a healthy life here growing naturally. And
Yes.
so I am an omnivore. I dabble with pescatarianism and vegetarianism and veganism and the raw diet. But really, self-love too is about listening to our bodies, understanding how our body process food to give it that energy and to give it that love. And I absolutely am a proponent of if we are diagnosed with medical illnesses, there's a holistic way to treat it. So I just wanted to share that as well.
No, that's so good. And I
Yes.
love that you guys mentioned that, too, because I think too with the Western way, sometimes we get so scared or they, kind of demonize, everything else outside of what it is that we're accustomed to here, you know. And that's preventing us, it's holding us hostage from, living a healthy life, having a healthy body, having a healthy womb, manifesting, being able to tap into your, your power. And so, yeah, I thank you for bringing that up because I think a lot of times we are missing a lot of information and a lot of things that are helpful to us because of that,
Yes.
So I wanted someone to answer that question. Denise, I mean, uh, can you speak to that with what the gentleman had asked, Javon had asked that question about are there other things that men can do to prepare for sexual activities, other than, good hygiene.
So, one of the main things, because I'm very big on our electromagnetic field,
Mm,
our electromagnetic field is fueled by our hearts, right?
mm,
So, which is our pretty much our aura. So, we know that women, divine feminine is a receiver, and the divine feminine is a giver. In usually that's how it goes. And one of the main things that's very important for a man prior to sexual intercourse is to release his negative emotions, either through inner alchemy type of a meditation. I teach that those things. The inner smile meditation is a very ancient Taoist meditation. The six healing sounds and the microcosmic orbit. Learning how to really hone in on our energy field, like the foods that we eat, for example, are measured in Armstrongs, which is a measure of its life force, right? So our thinking, our thoughts. So it's very important that a man would raise his vibration via, centering his energy in his heart space, because women are we're more prone to that. We have breasts. We've always been more connected to our heart space more than a man. So that's very important for a man to learn how to connect with his heart space, raising his vibration, releasing negative energy, right? And that is a very good preparation. I mean, the food stuff, you want to eat foods that are look closer to sperm if you want to be more fertile. Sea moss. When you look at sea moss, it looks like sperm. Okra, the sister Smarell, sorry, she spoke about, pineapples. So anything that's
and
gonna
that's slimy food. Yeah,
anything,
that's really interesting. I'm gonna be researching that.
yeah, foods that actually look like, you know, your discharge in its natural state would be very beneficial for men. Porridge, oats porridge, doing breath work and just focusing it on his testicles. There's dragon pearl breathing, which is taught in the course that I teach. So I would just strongly recommend just really raising your electromagnetic field as a man would very much be helpful for the woman while she's receiving all your energy. You want to, you know, be mindful of the energy that you're projecting into your partner.
That's so love that. I think that that's so good. It's really just being more intentional.
Yeah,
I know I had read this book and they talked about that about I think when they were talking about astral sex, and it's just like, this sex that's like more spiritual, it's out of this universe, but being on the same frequency because, most of us know, that sex is, it's energetic, it's spiritual. And so it's this exchange of energy. And so, the author, he spoke about that when you are not on the same frequency and you are engaging in sex, it's a form of sexual abuse. And I was like, ooh, I know some people are not gonna like to hear that. They're like, what are you saying? How is it abuse? But we're kind of disconnected from that anyways, because we a lot of time when we hear abuse, we're thinking about sexual abuse, like rape or something. Trigger, sorry guys. And physical abuse, like, hitting or harming each other in that way. But there's other forms of abuse. And so, yeah, I was like, that's so interesting because you're not on that same frequency. And so, thank you so much for bringing that up, and thank you so much, John, for asking that question. Thank you.
yes,
Can I chime in?
Yes, of course.
So I think what you were just talking about when it comes to, and I love all of what Sister Afaya was saying. I think that chiming in on the part about abuse, being plant-based the last 15 years and intercourse with a male that consumes a diet of mostly fruits and vegetables. Okay, let me just say plant-based, 100% plant-based, because that's all I mess around with. Has been completely different from a man that is consuming a bunch of animals. Because we speak about abuse, I find that they are, you're acting like animals, you're consuming all those animals. It's just, they just get excited, and it's just, I'm not saying that it still cannot be intense and still have the same passion, but I find that the less that men are eating the food that has all those artificial hormones and all the other crap, the more that they can learn how to be more in tune with the woman's body, because they're more in tune with their bodies. The less aggression that they feel, first and foremost, because you're not understanding what is happening to these animals as they are dying. Now we know, and everybody likes to say, well, back in the day, our ancestors ate a certain type of way. The animals were not dying the same way they're dying today.
They were being slaughtered, and then they're saying the chemical release in the animals when they're being slaughtered, it releases the chemical, and so it's like there's trauma in that animal. I used to date a guy, and his brother was vegan, and he always, every single time, he was just like, "You need to go vegan," I'm like, okay, but I learned a lot, from it. He was just saying how that chemical that's being released is not a mercy, you however you say it. And so when you eat that animal, you're eating it in its trauma, and then it's in your body, and it affects you. And I was just like, wow, that's so deep. So yeah.
Can I add as well?
No, like you glow. Sorry, you just
Yes.
glow when you have sex with a man
Mhm.
plant-based. Your skin glows. You just look so beautiful. Anyway, that's all I want to say.
Okay,
Thank you both. Thank you both for those gems. And because you just said that, Afaya, I wanted to add something, because I wasn't going to add this, but you made me think of something. Talking about that glow, right? So a man that's plant-based and his sperm is so good is beneficial to us ladies. When he comes, I take that and I make a mask, put it on my face, on my breast. It makes it nice and healthy and firm. Oh, it's so good for the skin. So good for the skin. But back to your question, I just wanted to add one more thing. 'Cause, I get a lot of couples that come in, and women will say to me, I don't want to have sex with my partner anymore. All he does is he only touches me when he wants to have sex. So one of the things that I want to say is not just think of, okay, I want to have sex with her. Think of being in the present moment. Think of having fun, enjoying, connecting. What the two queens said, perfect. I can't even add anything else to that. But being in the moment, being present, and having fun. Like, don't try to be so serious and be like, I gotta please her. Of course you want to, but like, just be in the moment. When you're in that moment and you're having fun, you're gonna feel what her body is saying to you. You're gonna feel naturally what she wants. You're gonna be able, when you're in that present moment, you're going to be able to understand, okay, this touch, I can see she loves that. This touch, she doesn't. Um, so how to be in the present moment. Everything that Afaya said is great. Meditate, just take some deep breaths. Even just really a lot of it is working on yourself. Even like there's a lot of men that go through and do semen retention programs, learning how to connect to their bodies, learning how to control and saving their seed, so that's something else. Also learning some tantric techniques, doing eye gazings. I teach couples a lot of different techniques, or even single people, that they can do when they do get into a relationship, teaching you different things, eye gazing, tantric massage that you can do before penetration, right? These are all things that's missing in a relationship. And what I was saying earlier, I don't know if you were on, Javon, but I had an experience in India that I had multiple orgasms without the guy even touching me from doing breath work together and eye gazing. So these are just some fundamental things that can be learned
Mhm.
so that you can have these amazing experiences.
And that's so good. The time is flying now, but we still like trying to get through the rest of these questions. But I wanted us to kind of talk about, touch on some things that I've learned about manifesting and healing using feminine and sexual energy. And that is something, new for a lot of people, especially, women who are not really in touch with themselves or know anything about it. I know we kind of spoke about Western and Eastern, practices and things like that. But if someone can quickly give some insight on that as far as the power of your womb and your feminine, your sexual energy, and manifesting. So whoever wants to kind of jump in and give us a little quick rundown of that power.
Are you talking about via sex? Or are you talking about just the feminine energy?
Both, because I was told that you are able to, a couple of different things that I've watched about healing through your feminine energy when you're in tune with that, and then the sexual energy. I've heard a few different things. Some people say that you can
Yeah.
do it through sex, and you can do it by yourself, as a woman. And so I wanted to shed some light, if someone can shed some light onto that.
Yeah. So our sexual energy is our most powerful energy. It's our vital life force energy. And so when you have an understanding of that energy, it's not just about having sex, but you can use that energy to manifest anything that you want. When you're doing tantric breath work, when I have my clients, I tell them, okay, set an intention. What is something that you want to manifest? And we do the tantric breath work, yoni breathing. Doing yoni breathing, I tell my clients, set an intention. What is it that you want? Right? And you manifest. So it's just learning how to channel that energy and manifesting what you want. We can manifest, we we're abundance. We have so much abundance around us. We were created to be able to manifest, to have the life that we want, but we just have to learn how to work with that energy. And so that energy can be done through V. You might have been talking about sex magic. There's a lot of talk about sex magic. Now that can be done solo through masturbation and setting intention. That can be done with a partner, and with that partner, the two of you come together with that intention. Maybe if it's like, let's say you, Smarell, you want to open up a new business. You find a partner and you say, can you hold this intention with me? And the two of you are going to hold that intention, and then you have sex and you're thinking of it. And so you can manifest that way. You can manifest without even masturbating or doing the sex
Yeah,
magic. You can
yeah,
manifest with doing the breath work.
yeah, yeah. And that's in the doubt for they call that non-arousal sexual energy. Like they have arousal, we have arousal sexual energy, and we have the non-arousal, which pretty much is just a creative energy, right? That passion, that drive, that visualization, and just using, just we have to feel it, right?
I always say
Like
it's like riding the wave, when you're with people who have this positive energy or they're all excited about, something, just riding the wave of that energy because, it's powerful when it's all, I guess,
yeah,
come together and you're, I guess, in sync with that same positive vibes. I don't know. But that's something that I've kind of noticed as well. But go ahead, continue.
definitely, yes. So it's what Pan
Pandara.
Pandara, sorry, my sister, Pandara said, and everything perfect. Definitely, it is the most powerful creation force energy, and it creates humans, it creates buildings, it's created this universe, right? So definitely when two people together are focused on one thing, it can come into fruition much quicker than, you just doing it on your own. However, the more we practice, the stronger we do become, and things do happen a lot quicker. But definitely, I told myself no more broke sex for me.
Yes.
And
Yeah,
what I call broke sex is just the fact that, we're just gonna have sex just to have sex rather than us, putting our intentions together to,
each other spiritually.
yeah.
So I'll chime in.
It's so good. Yes.
So yes, to what both of the sisters were saying, and I think to what Pandara was saying about um, our sexual energy being the most powerful energy. I am blessed because my birthday is Halloween. I'm a Scorpio, so I just feel like always horny. But I feel like the more, and I love what y'all talking about with couples, but I feel like on this sabbatical that I've been on with work, as much as I try to, I did say I'm Scorpio, so I have definitely had intercourse, but like for like the last, let's say, almost year, and the more that I harness my sexual energy and am not sexually active with someone, I find the more feminine that I feel, the more sexual that I feel. Like, so when people say, gosh, you're just so sensual right now, it really is because the sexual energy that I've been feeling, I feel more creative. I nurture myself. So when you see the movement and all that, I'm just feeling like, oh my God, I'm just loving me. And I learned this from Queen Afua to have a sex fast, actually. And, actually taking that time to not, do anything with anyone, to allow your emotions and the spiritual part of sex, because there's that too. I'm sure Prandara can speak on all that. The way that we connect with people emotionally, spiritually, physically, all that, it has an impact on our emotions. It has an impact on our aura. But the more that you can take time to deliberately not actually have sex and embrace all that sensuality that you're feeling, not even all the time through masturbation or through pleasure, but finding time, maybe my kitchen is that's like my stripper area. It's like I'm making love in my kitchen. The way that I treat my body, I feel instead of me going into my kitchen and thinking, oh my God, I got all this stuff to do. I got to prep the waffles. I make all my stuff from scratch. I go into my kitchen feeling sexy.
Yes, girl.
Yes.
Understanding what I'm doing to my body. I'm making love to myself
Yes.
mentally. So it comes out in a sensual way. So I think the best way for
Dancing as you stirring that pot, Hold on, I'm gonna ask you. That's something.
I want to taste your food, girl. I want you to taste your food.
The food was good, but
I know, right? Like, where are you? I'm coming. Well, where are you,
Right?
Sorrel?
I think are you in Atlanta?
So
I'm in Atlanta right now. Where are you at?
Okay.
Are you in Atlanta?
No, I have family. We have a restaurant in Charleston, so I live in between Charleston and Kansas City. My home.
I'm coming to Charleston.
Oh, okay.
I'm coming between there.
Serious.
Okay.
I'm serious.
I know.
We can do an event. We can see.
That's what I was just thinking. I was gonna
and then I'm going to Jamaica.
Listen,
Yes.
Charleston is closer for right now.
Jamaica?
I'm in Jamaica.
Fire's in Jamaica, yeah.
Yeah, that's why I'm going to Jamaica. We got to have a retreat.
Yes,
Yes. We should all connect and do something together. I think it would be phenomenal.
Yes. I'm here for it. But I was going to add, to it about what you were mentioning to Smarell. Even with like doing your hair, we all know like Black women, we have a relationship with our hair, but sometimes it's like, you're like, oh, I got to do my hair. And so I had thought to myself, instead of making it seem like it's such a dreadful thing, even when I was talking to my sister, I said, what you should do is when you're doing your hair, she was complaining about it, and I know I complain about it. And I was just like, maybe even like lighting some candles and kind of dimming the lights or whatever, and then having some music on and then working on your hair so it's more so like an intimate, event with you in your hair and just bonding with your hair, like pouring some love into your hair. And so I love that with the cooking because I know, some of the best, cooks and chefs, um they have so much joy and they just kind of get into the groove of it. Like I know my best friend, her mom, she is darn near in tears when she talks about my mom's cooking, and I'm just like, because something is going on when she's in there cooking, especially when she's in her mood. The food is just like, why are your potatoes better than everyone else's potatoes? I just don't get it. They're potatoes, but it's the love, it's the energy, it's the losing yourself in that. So
It's
Yes.
yeah.
ritual. It's a
Yes.
the more that we are romanticizing, when you're speaking to that feminine energy, the more that we are romanticizing, especially, I mean, I know there are probably different races watching this, but as melanated people, understanding that we are the original medicine women, right? So the more that we are romanticizing our life and making our hair, like when you said lighting candles, that's the feminine energy, right? That's the divine energy, but it's making it a ritual. That's why we feel so sensual and so spiritual, is because everything in our life that we're doing, we should romanticize. Even the low days as women, when we are crying, when you're feeling that influx of emotions and all the tears, all of that even is beautiful. The more
Yeah.
that we as melanated women become more in tune with romanticizing all things of life, the more that you'll connect with that feminine energy naturally. I just wanted to
Yes.
Yes, that's so good. That's so good. And then what you said about even the low moments, I think about that too, with just some of my favorite artists, but I love me some Sade. Okay. And I love me some Sade. And sometimes I'll just be listening to her music and they talk about this too with like holding yourself and like hugging yourself. And I want to kind of jump to that because we're going to talk about the body, and the self-love piece and all that. But it sometimes when you just like hold yourself and then like listen to your music and then like it's kind of like you're just slow dancing with yourself and holding your body, like it feels like healing, and it's so interesting because I feel like we're kind of like sometimes we kind of stumble upon an awakening and we're like, oh wow, I didn't know like how powerful this was. And so yeah, yes, yes, yes to all of that. So
Yeah, and it's that sounds so much like my understanding of Tantra, what uh,
mhm,
Sister Smrel
mhm.
describes, and Sister Pandamra, she's doing things with intention and doing it slow, doing it with love and passion. That's Tantra. I mean, I didn't study Tantra, but to my understanding of Tantra is not just about sex. It's just how we live our lives, right? With intention, with that love, with that passion, with that joy, with that just everything that you sisters describes just sounds like Tantra, like you're making food with Tantra and you're doing your hair in a tantric energy. That's so beautiful.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you're right.
We got some hard names.
It's kind
So
of like, yeah, I said I'm a master of yours because Bredar, I've been, I was messing it up last time you were on, and so I got yours, and then I'm like, okay, I want to call you your government, but then I'm like, okay, fine, So,
can I actually comment on Michael Thomas's comment?
oh yeah, yes, yes, yes.
Okay, so Michael Thomas says, after 25 years, my spouse is still a prude, still waiting for her to evolve. So,
Uh-oh.
Michael, I'm gonna say, first, you gotta evolve. If you
Mm,
feel like your wife need to evolve, evolve.
mm,
Do the work on yourself, okay? And
mhm.
then you'll notice a difference.
Yeah,
The
and I mean, and it's a beautiful thing, I think. what was important to me this season about focusing on the women's healing, piece is just for us to completely like focus in on that because we're always, worried and taking care of everyone else. And, we need to focus on ourselves. And sometimes we get distracted when we have our negative moments about, men. And I think the same thing with men. We have to kind of, all of us, we have to go inward and focus on ourselves and our healing with ourselves. And then we show up in a way and it's infectious to
Exactly.
the opposite sex because I realized that and I think Smerelle was mentioning that about spending that time by herself. When I spend time with myself, even though I love people and love, being around them, I just love it, talking to strangers, all that good stuff. But when I spend time by myself, I get the juice. Okay.
Yes.
I be like, oh, I be manifesting. I be on
Yes.
point. People would just be like, just attracted to me. I'll go out and then I'll get free stuff. And, people will be like extra nice to me. I'm like, ooh, I
Hmm.
love this me, but that's
Yes.
me. But when you get caught up and you're talking to other people, they have negative stuff to say, people are being negative to them. And so then they gotta, tell the world about this and pour all their garbage off onto you.
Hmm.
Then I can't show up, in that way that where I'm winning all day.
Right.
It's hard because I'm trying to, I'm an empath, so I'm feeling
Hmm.
all your stuff and it's just messing up my vibes.
Right.
And
And we
so
can't and we can't change other people. We can only
right.
change ourselves.
Right. So absolutely. So for Michael, I mean, I'm not the sex expert or anything like that. But I think that if you get into the mood where you're excited and you're romanticizing her, in different ways, you're speaking her language. Maybe she might bring out the inner freak for you. You don't know.
Right.
You
And
don't
the
know.
thing is, and you both might have two different love languages. Well, not the love language itself, but there is a whole nother like with the sexual compatibility. Maybe you're touching her one way, and maybe she might get off in a whole nother way that you haven't tried. Right? I mean, if you ever watch Sex, Love, and
Right.
Goop, really, really good show. And there was a couple on there who it was similar to like what Michael is saying. It turned out his wife on the show, and Nikki didn't even get it to go into
She
the
was more of
BDSM
a
yet. So
yeah.
he
She
the
was more
wife
of
was
a
really liking
yeah.
BDSM type stuff, and the husband thought she was a prude, but here it was, she liked something freakier that he wasn't doing. So you got to experiment with these different things and see.
Yeah.
Exactly. And so, Nikki, yeah, definitely. Nikki, I know you could help him out. If there's something that you would like to give, Brother Michael, as well. And then we'll go into the next question.
Yeah. To be quite honest, as a mental health therapist, the energy transfers, right? We've been talking about that this entire conversation. And so seeing the comment, my wife is a prude, what energy is being projected onto your wife, Michael? And so I absolutely agree that if you have this perception of her and are putting her in this limited box, then how are you opening space for exploration, right? And so I'm absolutely thinking of quite possibly there should be some couples sexology or sexual wellness therapy, right? We're talking about holding trauma in the womb space, holding trauma in the yoni. What sort of area of comfort or energetic space of acceptance are you creating to allow her to even begin to explore what she may be carrying? So I just absolutely second watching Sex, Love, and Goop and researching sexology and sexual wellness and bringing it to your wife, this woman that you have a union with, in a way that is accepting and affirming and showing her that you are willing to take the journey with her so that she can explore her body, feel comfortable in her body, and then begin to bring the freak out, right? Because we're not talking about performing for the male gaze. We're talking about feminine women identified beings being confident in our body, our sexuality. And so if as her husband, she is feeling that she needs to perform or meet your expectations, or you're on two totally different levels, what is that doing for her psyche and her confidence? So have a bit more patience, compassion, and grace, and be willing to do the research, do your own work, so that you can then bring it to her and be her partner and assist her on her journey.
Wait, and you know,
Yes.
Nikki,
Yes.
chime in right here because that. See, and you were trying to leave. Don't you dare leave. So the thing, there's so much there, and I really do hope that not just Michael, but I hope that everybody else takes that into like. And it's starting to become so taboo nowadays when we start to talk about this feminine energy, the divine feminine. We think about sexuality, we think about sensuality. Although I love everything what Prandara's talking about, I know that Prandara, you would be seconding the idea of us learning how to do all these things first and foremost for ourselves. Because nowadays, the more that we talk about sexuality, divine feminine, people are thinking that this is about performing for the male. And it has nothing really to do with that. Like us being feminine women, I I have pleasured myself so many times not thinking about a male whatsoever, even though I believe that having partners are also beautiful. I have a child, I believe in all of that. We just have to understand that as women, this is not performance. This is not to be the divine feminine, to be sexy for the male gaze. That is just so crucial right now because it's cool now. You know, when all the white women start doing it, now everybody's trying to call themselves divine feminine. And it has nothing really to do with the man, but everything to do with them too. So that was just a
Right. No, that's so good because I'm glad that you mentioned that because it's not about taking away anything from a man. It's just making sure that you redirect so that you, the woman, are doing things for the right reasons and you're honoring yourself. Because at the end of the day, you can get a woman, you can have sex with her and all that good stuff, but if she's not healed, you are taking on some things that you don't really know what you're going to get into later and how it's going to affect you later. But if she's healthy, you're getting all this good stuff and it gets to keep going, and then it's healing, it's manifesting, it's you building together, it's something powerful. And so it's not, I know sometimes, I think men are kind of worried when we talk about women's healing and different things like that, because they're like, oh, wait a minute, is this going to mess up my life? And it's just like, no, it's actually going to make it better so that you don't have this woman going all crazy on you later, showing up at your job, keying your car, doing wild stuff that we see some of these people on Instagram or these different TikTok videos and stuff doing because they're just out of touch with themselves. And so we just want to get back to that so that it can be an overall beautiful experience and not just like you're waiting for the other shoe to drop or whatever it is that they say.
Can I say something?
Yeah, go ahead.
My first, I'm going to put my business out there because I've healed from it. My first sexual experience was traumatic. And I had to learning that sexual energy is so delicious. There is absolutely nothing dirty about it. So even predators and people who are misusing their sexual energy, when we add judgment to it, we're actually still bringing the person down. What we can do as high vibrational beings is send, and I couldn't even, for me to say this, I mean, this is how I know I've healed.
Yeah, thank you.
We need to project a positive and more loving energy, and with the thinking that and the hoping that they will begin to use their sexual energy more wisely. So when we're using negative words and projecting it in regards to sexual energy, we're not making it any better. even to the people who we think are misusing their sexual energy. We have to really raise the vibration in this time, and just project more positive energy, even to predators, and knowing that our that intention is powerful, and powerful enough that even if not in this lifetime, generations to come in the next lifetime, that positive energy and that upliftment can be manifested in these people's lives, because them
Wow,
too,
that's huge.
because these people too have experienced some sort of trauma, right? So um that's all I wanted to say, that
No, thank you. Thank you so much for sharing that and that transparency. Because I'm sure there's someone who needs to hear that, and then it's just another way to view it. And I mean, we're all in different stages of our healing journey, and so that's huge. So I wanted to move on to this question. I wanted to say, Nikki, I know that you have a wealth of knowledge, the mental health therapist now. Congratulations again on, graduating. Love that growth. BDSM instructor and human design reader. But I wanted to ask you, can you shed some light on your insight on how important it is to embrace your yoni pleasure? Um, Actually, no. We're cutting it close at this time. I want us to really talk about the connection with your self love and your body, like, because we haven't really talked about the body yet. We have these different, imperfections, and as women, we kind of pick ourselves apart, a lot of the time. And so, I want us to all touch on how important that body positivity and that self love is, in connection with your yoni, and the manifestation that is happening through that feminine energy. How important is that love, for your body, overall, and to contributing to you manifesting things. So, Nikki, go ahead and take it first. I know I try to merge three questions into one because we've been we've been talking about a lot of stuff here, but I should have known.
No, that's okay. Please check out HBCU Lounge Network. I spoke with V on a previous episode about human design. And so I'm feeling all of this energy and all of this conversation. And I'm like, I am surrounded by generators and manifesting generators. And I'm a projector myself. And so I'm like, my energy, but I was ruminating on this question, well, being mindful of these questions. And I'm going to say something a bit heretic. I'm going to say something a bit against the grain. I want to speak to those listeners and those viewers who are not yet where we are, where this panel of human beings are. And I'm going to say that self-love, that body positivity connection, that physicality of expressing our self-love is not as important. It's not as important. What's important is the undercurrent of what we've been speaking about all night, that tantric understanding, that interconnectedness of all living beings, that connection to plant-based food, that connection Prandara mentioned with giving of herself back to the earth, that we are all spiritual beings. We have the all spark within us. We have the soul within us. And so what is important is recognizing the spirituality of our physical manifestation in this realm and realizing that's enough.
mhm.
Often we hear you must be healed before you can have a healthy relationship. You must have self-love before someone can treat you right. Absolutely not. Because you exist, you're worthy. That's
Yes.
it.
Come on now.
And now, once you recognize that I exist in this realm in 2023, for some reason, I came here to this time period and I am worthy, what am I going to do with my worth?
Ooh,
That's
say that
important.
again. What am I going to do with my worth?
Yes.
inherent power, this
Yes.
inherent gift, these inherent skills that my soul chose to come to this specific timeline with, what am I going to do with that?
Yes.
Whatever your physicality manifests as. I happen to identify as a queer femme. Yes, I have a yoni. Yes, I have a vulva. Yes, I feel connected to my vulva. And so, individuals who don't consider their vulva a vulva, individuals who don't consider their penis a penis, are they not worthy of self love and body positivity?
Exactly.
No, it is not about the physical for me. And so having that spiritual connection releases us from those limitations, right? It releases us from the context and allows us to tap in with tantric energy, which is vibrational, right? It's not dependent on our physicality. Thank you, Kiana. For the people in the back, I exist.
True.
Therefore, I am worthy. Point blank, period. Point blank, period.
True.
And what am I going to do with that?
It's so true. And that there, you have just shifted a paradigm. You have shifted the reality of thought forms that are outdated, that we're just worshiping in this time, that it's true.
Yeah,
They were,
I wanted to do a callback to something you mentioned earlier, Afia, where you mentioned divine masculine is the receiver and the divine feminine is the giver. And we know that to be true if we do our research and our history into Kemet, into Cometian times, into Africa, into Eastern spirituality, that the divine feminine was exalted, right? That in order for man to become king, he must have first gone through the divine feminine to get that blessing. And now we know what happened with the transatlantic enslaved trade and these imperialistic white Anglo-Saxon Protestants, and how they took those learnings and perverted them and turned them upside down. And so now we have men thinking they're the giver, right? And so when we think of heteronormative sex, it's penetrating, right? You must break through the hymen. As Smart Else mentioned, it's so aggressive. When really, and this it can even go back to Michael. Michael, if you put your position in the mindset, if you shift your paradigm that you are a receiver of your wife's yoni, right? You are not penetrating her. You are being enveloped by her power.
yes.
As Afia and Prandara
Oh,
mentioned,
develop.
the male less than half of the nerve endings, right? So what are you giving? And that's not to be shade, but what are you giving to a yoni that's powerful enough to have double the sensation and double the access to that pineal gland, right? You are there to receive. You are there to receive. And I don't think we've spoken on the yoni nectar, right? And how in tribal community to drink from the vulva imbued the masculine men for them to go out and forage. So I feel like, I don't know. This is why I said I need to go to sleep, because we could talk about this for like another
This is
hour.
so deep. Oh my gosh. I mean,
True.
it's so deep,
True.
but yeah, no, I love all of that, what we're, talking about. And I wanted to mention too, with all of you ladies, I consider you all, just in watching you, is just, I know Smirl's like, I think she said she doesn't use the word confident, or it's not about the confidence or whatever. But that's how I view you guys. Like when I see you guys, the way that you move, how comfortable you are with your bodies and things like that. I just think that it's huge, and in a world where, like I was speaking of about us as women, kind of picking ourselves apart and other people just judging us, you start to develop, those insecurities. And so I wanted to ask or hear from you guys on the topic of self-love, and what is self-love and self-assured mean to you? I think more so that word. What does self-assured mean to you? And you kind of we're touching on it right now, Nikki. So I'll send it to Pandora. You can go ahead and take it. We'll kind of go around, and then any last bit of advice on just how to love your body, tips that you guys want to leave before we close out.
Man, I don't even know what to say after that. Like,
I know, right? All right.
I feel like what Nikki said closed it off, like point blank, period. Yeah, I don't. Yeah, I don't. There's nothing else that I could think of saying. Like I feel like that was very well covered.
Very well, very well.
No, it sounds good. Well, if you guys, ladies, would like to leave, I mean, not
I'll
leave,
chime in.
but share, any tips that you guys have for um,
I'll chime in here.
the people out there. Okay.
So
Yes. Yes. Yes.
I'll chime in on the body positivity because what Nikki just said is the core, right? And so I'm glad that that was said. But I think because that is a real thing, right? There are a lot of people that, despite us talking about spirituality and everything, um, people do need to get that, but we still live in this world where people are so vain, and all of us, to some extent, think about that, right? And I think understanding first and foremost that we are all spiritual beings having a human experience, therefore we are worthy. That needs to be um, self affirmations, creating affirmations to actually reprogram the way that you think. Because we live in a world where, as women, there is so much that is put against us, right? Like there's there's so much I can say about just the plight of women, what we go through, what we have to feel emotionally. And then when we are emotional beings, we are told that we are too emotional. If we are sexual, we're told that we're hoes. Um, but as women, confidence that I have right now is because I have become very intentional. And I have realized the responsibility and the control that God has given me, knowing that I am here as a able-bodied person, being able to say, I have control. I can't control all of what's going on, but I have control over, oh gosh, hold on. Understanding that I have control in all aspects of my life. I think that's one of the main things that as women we can do to be confident. Also, understanding that before you're taking a shower, embracing the flaws, taking time to dance while you're naked, not being so ashamed of your body, taking time to actually move and explore your body as you're dancing. My dogs are going crazy back here.
No, no problem. Thank you. I think that was beautiful what you mentioned. And Afia, did you want to leave any last words of advice?
I just wanted to add in a tool. Yeah, it's giving selfish, but selfish is really self love. Just to answer L Baker, but I wanted to add on
Yes.
to just a tool that I have been using because I have been working a lot on my subconscious um, thought patterns to
Mm.
reprogram it. And one of the things that I have been doing is actually what it's called mirror work. Like in the morning, I look in the mirror and I say, when I began, I was like, I'm beginning to really love you. I love you so much. I love you so much, Afia. I forgive you. You know, Doing that mirror work allows you to create that spark, that reconnection with
Mhm.
yourself. Um, that's one of the things that I have been doing, and you are worthy, you know, and mirror work has really been helping me,
Mm.
and that's just something I just want to put out there as a tool, as a solution. Um, Scripting these types of things, the affirmations, and not just doing the affirmations, but actually really feeling it in your gut and doing it until you actually see results. Because sometimes we just do it and then put it away, then pick it back up when things get a little bit rough. But doing it until you actually really see the results. So if that takes however long it takes, right? So the reprogramming of the subconscious has been huge for me.
Mm.
And that's just what I want to say in terms of that is my last words. And thank you so much.
Yes, absolutely. Thank you so much for sharing that. This has just been a wonderful show and so many gems and just gosh, I'm like, this should have been a two-part thing because there's so much information and we haven't even really scratched the surface yet. So I thank you all for your contribution. It was wonderful. I
I
want
do want to share some final words. I want to get my voice out there a little bit before we wrap up the
yeah.
I will too after you. It's a little
Mhm.
final words.
perfect, perfect. Because as I mentioned, I was being very mindful of showing up in this space. I've learned so much from all of you. I have not studied Tantra, right? I have not studied Yoni. So when I was looking at some of the questions that were directed towards me, there was a message that came to me. So I just want to speak from my notes and reiterate again, I'm going to be heretic here. Okay, I'm going to speak to those viewers, those listeners, those watchers who are not yet fully confident in their journey about self-love and body positivity and speaking about the core of where that comes from and what that journey looks like. So for myself and the work and the teachings that I do, self-love and being self-assured has a spiritual component to it. That spiritual component releases it from a physical context and limitations, whether they be religious, emotional, attained stature, whatever. Being spiritual, believing in an omnipotent force greater than self, that the self is also a part of, actualizes our inherent power, our gifts, our purpose, doing the constant work of recognizing and honoring the immense spiritual truth of our being only leads to self love and self assuredness. How can we be defeated when we create and are created by that power? Self love, again, isn't as important. What is important is that because we exist, we are worthy. That's it. Full stop. And once we realize that we exist and are inherently worthy, what are we going to do with our existence and our worth? That's important. And in terms of body positivity and building that confidence, continued exposure to our naked beings, right? Physically naked, emotionally naked, that mirror work that Afia was speaking of. And then building the courage to face the risk because there's always a risk when we share ourselves with another human being, right? So, building the courage to face the risk of sharing our naked body with others. I love that Sangara and Afia, we're talking so much about somatic body work, right? The laying hands on the yoni, the laying hands on the womb, to showing up to retreats that provide safe space to be nudist or naturist and revel in the naked body around others who have done that same work, right? And that's something that I'm still practicing, even as a BDSM kink educator and practitioner. We talk about it a lot. We look at BDSM kink as an alternative lifestyle that's full of body positivity. No, it's full of individuals who are doing the work to strengthen their body positivity, who show up in spaces in BDSM kink garb and look at themselves and say, damn, I'm sexy. Damn, I'm beautiful. Damn, I could take the risk of doing what feels good to me, right? And so summoning that courage from deep within, which leads back to self-love, because if I exist, then I am worthy. And this is how I exist, this body, this hair, this skin. And this is how I continuously win. This is what my worth looks like. So how can I be the one to deny or slander the truth of me? Right? How can I say my acne or my gray hair? I'm actually full gray and I'm in my 30s. And so I'm embracing my silver vixen status because it is powerful. And so if I
Yes, Silver Nixon.
Come on, come on. I feel like I'm in a spoken word.
right? So really know that you exist as you do because you are supposed to exist that way and be curious and excited to explore it. And I'll land there. I thank you all so much again. And
Ashe, Ashe, Queen, Ashe.
Yes, that's so good. So good.
Ashe.
Beautiful. And I'm so glad that you did because I'm so glad that you stayed on it because I know we kind of jumped around, but I'm like, I would be kicking myself like, wait, I wanted Nikki to say some more stuff. So, thank you, sis. Thank you. You held it down. Um,
Yes.
Pandora, go
Well,
ahead.
Nikki did it to me again. Like now I can't say nothing. Darn you, Nikki. You did it to me again. Well, she just said it all yet again. So um I'm just gonna say thank you for having us out here.
Yes.
This was great.
Yes, and
Um
you
yeah.
can definitely give information on how to get in contact with you and any upcoming events that you have that are in the near future.
Okay. So for me, like Smorel, I've been kind of doing my little working on myself. So I don't have any upcoming events right now, but you can get a hold of me on Instagram at pandaraprem_tantra, as well as online, www.pandaraprem.com. Normally, I'm teaching yoni breathing, tantric basics courseworks. I teach tantric massage. I do retreats for women of color in Brazil. Like I said, I've been off for a little bit, but I'm going to start getting back in doing these courses online as well as in person. I'm ready to get back into in person again. And I am actually planning a retreat for Savannah, Georgia in October. So that is going to be yoni release. We're going to be focusing on releasing the traumas within the yoni. We're going to be doing yoni steam, yoni breathing, ovarian massage, breast massage. Because again, the we have meridians that connects the mouth to the nipples to the yoni. So doing breast massage as well as healing for the yoni. So look out for that. Follow me to see more information for when that comes up. And then I'm going to be somewhere between Charleston and Kansas City and Jamaica. That's
Yes.
going to be my next retreats that I gotta plan. And Nikki, where are you?
So when I had my ear to it, right? I'm just outside Atlanta, Georgia. So Prandara, we need to meet up, go to Charleston, and then
Yes,
snatch Smarrell, fly to Jamaica.
Right.
exactly. Let's do it. Let's do
Yes,
it.
I know Eve
And,
in Texas. Come
and
on.
I'll meet y'all there in Jamaica.
Right? Yes. I'd love to have you all here in Jamaica. That'd be
Yes.
Yes.
so phenomenal.
We need to do that vulva and clitoris mapping in Jamaica on the beach, right? Come on.
Girl,
Yes.
yes. Eating some papaya. Mm.
Thank you, L. Baker, for being here. Of course, this is a space. Yes, it's directed, for women's healing, but I do realize that since I've been focusing on women's healing, it's actually helped men as well from the different topics that we've discussed this season. So thank you so much for being here. Your participation, the comments, and everyone who has been in the comments and watching. I truly appreciate you all. Sorry about that. Yeah, if you could tell the people how they can find you and any retreats or different events that you have coming up.
Okay, so my brand is Orgasmic Delicious Living. I am currently in Jamaica. I am offering the Universal Healing Tao Associate course where you become certified as an associate instructor. You are free to come to Jamaica as well. It is online. So I don't have a website up as yet. However, my page is sexual underscore reflexology on Instagram. And I have a TikTok account, sexual dot reflexology. So those are my two main accounts. I do have orgasmic dot delicious dot living dot spa and on Instagram as well. Um, Preferably contact me on Instagram at the sexual underscore reflexology. You can DM me. And if you're interested in learning more about Universal Healing Tao and the healing love practices, it does include breast massage. It does include self massage overall. The inner alchemy meditations, the three most famous inner alchemy meditations, Taoist meditations, as well as ovarian breathing, spinal cord breathing, and some iron shirt qigong and just some basic qigong and a lot of breath work. So yeah, so it does include some other extra stuff that I've added in to the course, orgasmic nutrition,
Mhm.
how to use nutrition to for fertility and just overall boost your libido and sexual wellness. And yeah, so
That's good. That's good. Thank you so much. And last but not least, we have Miss Morel. If you can tell the people how to find you. I know you're doing your sabbatical, but we're still watching you. So, trying to get some of these food tips because the food be looking good, and then you dance, you just making it all look easy and wonderful. So like a vacation.
Yeah, it has been quite the vacation. I will say that. Sorry for the noise. My son had just came back from a weekend with his cousins. So you can find me on Instagram, which was weird because it's like being in the restaurant industry and having businesses, and now just saying you can find me on Instagram. I just feel so good to say that. You can find me on Instagram at Well with Smarrell. I'm also on Facebook. And if you are interested in staying connected, I do in this spring have some things that are coming up that I have been working on. Oh, Well with Smarrell, thank you. You're so professional over here. I love it. But yeah, I do have some things that I'm working on as far as digital content, going back to the basics, helping everybody kind of get a little bit more centered. Because after the pandemic, what I've realized is that now everybody's acting like the pandemic didn't really happen. And so a lot of people are trying to figure out,
Right.
I know you're talking about this health and wellness stuff, but how do we do it on a basic level? So now I'm finding ways to teach people how to get back to the basics. So follow me there. And if you're interested in getting some information or staying connected or joining my newsletter, just send me a DM on Instagram or Facebook. And yeah, soon you will see me with these ladies because I felt like this was a beautiful.
yes, I love every moment.
Yeah, and hearing you talk, you give me the vibes of Erica Badu, where it's like if you talking to her, she's gonna Anya, you right here in the corner.
Oh,
You, me, Fire. Yeah, you speaking, it's like you give me those Erica Badu vibes where you're talking and you're like luring people in with just your.
oh, wow, thank you. You
Well,
know,
Erica Badu just said that she just everyone when they look her in the eyes, they fall in love with her, men, women, and children. So
it's so funny when I first started loxing, like early 90s, and I was wrapping my hair before most people and before Erica Badu actually. People were like, oh my God, you look like Erica Badu. I'm like, no, Erica Badu looks like me, okay? Okay. But thank you. Yes, thank you. I've been told that so much. I,
um,
I love Erica Badu.
oh my gosh, yeah, she's dope. Yes. Well, this is awesome, and I'm looking forward to us getting together. But thank you so much for just blessing us tonight with all of the knowledge and just putting extra things on our mind and just how we can do better at taking care of ourselves and just keep choosing you, so that you can actually show up in this world the way that you were meant to. So thank you so much. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And I hope that you guys have a beautiful week and a wonderful night. So good night, everyone. And thank you, audience, for being here.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you for everyone who came and shared their energy in the chat.
Yeah, it was lit, right?
Yeah, I'm very grateful.